How y'all doing?
Welcome back to our channel. I am Erica and this is my husband Marcus, and you are visiting Thoughts with a Married Christian.
We here.
Yes. So, before we get started, we want you to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell below so you can get updates for when we get on, when we drop videos, when we drop our shorts. So, we have something we want to talk about today.
Yes.
You ready, Ray?
Yeah. So it's our 6 month
Half anniversary. We've been
anniversary.
officially married for 6 whole months. Baby, baby. So, we basically just want to discuss why marriage.
Why marriage? With everything that's going on in the world,
Yeah.
and it's marriages are definitely under attack in this season. Marriages, I think, have always been under attack. It's always something because the enemy wants to think that you don't need to commit. You can have kids. You can stay in each other's houses or a house with somebody and not have that legal obligation or that covenant obligation. Because
Yeah.
that's what it's about, the covenant to God
Yes.
before all. Because there's so many times when you ain't going to like that person, you're not going to be feeling it. But when you think about God, you keep your promises to Him. That's what sometimes keeps you going. But, you know.
Yeah. So, I definitely agree. So we really just wanted to kind of just have the conversation because marriage is very necessary. However, the world just make it seem like it's it's so optional, and so many people are opting out. Honestly, for different reasons, but for the most part, it's really a form of deception. Um, just allowing allowing yourself to believe that something that was um, just a decade ago, something that was so common, is either becoming more uncommon now or definitely for the wrong reasons. People are changing the narrative of what marriage is and making it what they want it to be. But the thing about it is, like Marcus said, it's a covenant. So it's God ordained. And anytime you take something that God has made and switch it to what you want it to be, it's a sin. So, it's out of order. So you gotta be careful with that.
And babe, the world's always been against what God wants,
Yeah.
and and like we said, we have been in the world, we lived it. So I know for me,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to get married at one
Mm-hmm.
point in time. I was against the things of marriage. I seen marriage fail. The only person I knew that had a good marriage was my uncle. At that time, my parents had got divorced, so I was like, man, this is this what I want to do? So in my mind, to avoid divorce, I was like, I'm not getting married.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted that relationship with another the opposite sex. I knew I wanted to be loved, but I didn't have no idea what marriage was until I actually got into the Bible, got into a good church, and found out the meaning behind it.
Mm. So would you say at some point your narrative about marriage was changed?
Oh, definitely, most definitely. Because basically, like I was saying, I would meet at that time women and just tell them right off the bat, we're not getting married.
Mm.
We're not getting
Wow.
married. We're not having kids. So they knew right out the gate. It wasn't. So you can try to change my mind, but I already told you.
Mm.
So
So about what age were you when that changed?
um, now I was engaged in my mm, about 24. I'll say
Okay.
about 24, but I can't say I still had that. I was engaged because I was in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
dealt with a person, and we had committed so many things. But I can't say I knew what the real definition of marriage was until after that. till we went our separate ways that I really felt like, oh my, this is really something that's deep. And I knew I wanted to be in marriage when I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it right. I wanted to be long term, but I didn't know all the facets of it. I really didn't.
Gotcha. So, for me, I've always wanted to be married, of course. And I didn't have no examples of marriage, at least not healthy marriages. I knew a few people that were married, but it was just like these long term relationships.
It turned into might as well did it, so let's go do it.
Yeah, and even so, it was like my grandmother and grandfather, they had been together for 20 something years. They was never married, and their relationship wasn't much different from the few people that I knew that was married. So there was no difference between actually being married and just being with the same person forever.
So what caused you to want? Where is your definition of marriage, or did you always have the same view of marriage?
No, so I had more of the storybook idea of marriage. Yeah, finding this guy and you know being being married, having the wedding, having kids. Now I would say once I got older, my view of marriage changed, and it was more so of a family. So at one point, my idea was I knew I had to get married because I knew I wanted kids, and I knew that I didn't want kids outside of marriage.
So you had a plan.
Yes, I didn't want my kids to have the experience I had of being raised with a single mother. So marriage then became
Gateway.
yeah, it was almost like a necessity for next steps. If I want to have a family, then I would get married. So there was that. But at some point, I definitely started to understand like marriage from God's point of view and what that mean, and that kind of helped me reshape my idea about marriage. But I always wanted to be married. Yeah. And I always wanted the longevity of marriage, like to just meet this person out in the world, and this is the person, and you just get to do the rest of your life with them. So I always wanted that too, even before I understood the context of marriage. But to answer the question, why marriage, I would say that marriage is one, again, is God ordained. So if God put it in place, it's definitely for a reason. And then on top of that, it's so much tied to the covenant of marriage. Like that is where God extends his family. That is his idea of growing a family, creating a legacy, and carrying on his glory is through his people, and that happened in marriage. Even in the Bible, he blessed Abraham, but he blessed families through him. So that was a part of the covenant.
The lineage.
Yeah, and then there is the legality of it, like the namesake and all of those things. Like all of that stuff is God's blessing to have a legacy. And again, that happened through marriage, and that's one of the things that I realized growing up, seeing those long-term relationships, is that don't happen when you a girlfriend. Like there is a reason why there's a separation with just being with somebody in a relationship, just living together, or all of these things versus being married. You know?
Oh, I know.
Yeah. It's so much tied to it, even in a practical sense, that people are again taking that and twisting it into, oh, marriage is a business. You have to go into marriage with all of this business mindset of prenups and all these things to kind of protect the what if, but the what if shouldn't even be an option if you have the right mindset about marriage from the get go.
Hmm. Well, all right, babe. The big question is, why people in the church can divorce so much if it's God ordained?
Now that's a good question. I think the problem is that the church is operating like the world. I mean, it's been going on for a while. People are pulling back from the word. Thing is, the word don't change. We've been reading the same Bible for I don't know how many years, how many decades, how many centuries, but people want to take it and make it what they want it to be. And on top of that, they want to take pieces of it and then add all these new age beliefs to it. That you can you can divorce under any circumstance, or just again having that mindset like getting married and having divorce as an option in your mind is enough for divorce to happen. Like, I feel like back in the day, people, it wasn't an option. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that a lot of people have went through some stuff together, but the fact that they wasn't willing to quit or give it up because they wasn't liking each other, or
Some people might say this, babe, that women have more freedom now. So
yeah, but I feel like the freedom is why they're not getting married as much. But is it the reason why they're also divorcing as much?
maybe.
I mean, I know that it said that women file for divorce more often than men, but it's just it's just not legitimate. It don't line up. It don't line up with your reasons for marrying. So I think you have to question why you would get married in the first place.
That's the answer, babe. I think that's the biggest answer because what are these people getting married for?
Mm-hmm.
Was it because they had kids early before marriage? Was it because they had some obligations that necessarily wasn't tied to biblical aspects or spiritual aspects? Sometimes they might have seen that man as having a good job and that stability, and maybe at that time they didn't have much, and now that they have more, they feel there's a way out. And that's vice versa. Maybe the man, he's seen his wife as, the body and everything, the things that started going south, and, maybe she don't talk to him the same way. The thing is, and I believe this for myself, even in these last 6 months, marriage is constantly adjusting every single day and moment. Don't expect that person to be the same exact way when you first met them. No way. They can't do. For one thing, you want to grow. You want the other person to grow the same way. People have bad days. People have bad moments. Grace. You have to have grace over your marriage. You have to continue to love. And people don't want to fight. People have become punks in the spirit, punks and everything, because it's so easy. Everything is about, they ain't doing it.
Yeah, convenience.
On to the next one. Get that. I'm going to get this bag. And you have all these people. This is the thing I'm starting to see, and it's sad to me. I feel like a lot of people are growing business-wise, and, they get this spiritual awakening. But at the same time, they can lose their whole family.
Wow.
I don't think that's God ordained. And so the enemy can perpetrate where you are growing, you're prospering. And I'm not saying I'm all for that. We love to have our trips. We love to have money. I know I love to make money. But the thing is, when it's God made, He can bless it all.
Mm-hmm. You can have it all.
And that's the thing. I feel like so many people, that's what the world tells you. Well, if you get married, you're going to lose out of this, you'll lose out of that, you'll lose out of this. And you might as well stay this. You can keep getting. But you got all these pieces everywhere scattered. With all these people. And you still on the same predicament.
Yeah. I mean, and the crazy part is, if you look at the numbers, like, the numbers show that married men are the most successful. Like, married men have the most money.
Mm.
And it could be because, again, there is purpose in marriage. So if God created Eve for Adam, there was purpose in that companionship. There was purpose in that union.
That helped me.
Yeah. So it's like, what are you? What can you really accomplish without the motivation of family, of a wife, of kids, of, like, there is much that, not even to mention the actual blessing that God gives the man with marriage, that comes, the favor that comes, but just the things that are tied to a man having a certain ambition, a certain motivation when he have a family, to provide, to make better decisions, to be wise in his money and his stewardship and things like that.
Yes, to whom much is given, much is required.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to be, and I know just for me, on the verge of getting married, my mind shifted.
Mm-hmm.
Things will start to be put in place. I couldn't be as selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, and that's another thing, babe. So many selfish married people.
Yeah.
You can't be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be a servant. You constantly are serving. You're constantly giving. You're constantly every day, and it's gonna hurt.
What they say, you gotta die.
I die every day.
Every day.
So I mean, but it's also, I see the blessing. I love being married. The things that are tied to it, it's made me a better man.
So what would you say to people saying you just feel like that right now? You're still in the newlywed phase.
That's true. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything gonna change, but the thing is, I'm constantly gonna be fighting. I'm constantly growing. We're constantly getting to know. See, that's the thing, and that's put in my vows. I'm constantly gonna be dating you for the rest of my life. So the thing is, if I think that the marriage stopped 6 months, a year in, then I will go with that mindset. But you gotta, you're man. We're 6 months in. You're not the exact same person that I met 6 months, well, a couple of years ago, or when I married. So it's adjustments. Yeah. You have to make adjustments. We're about to step into a new season of our lives right now, that we gotta make some big adjustments. That you can't have the same mindset.
Yeah, I agree. So overall, what would be your answer to why marriage?
Why marriage? And I told you this story lots of times. So a couple of years ago, I went to a wedding, and for the first time I've been in many weddings, God showed me that marriage is the closest thing to Him on the earth. There's no greater commitment to God than marriage. It's the closest thing. So much. He mentions it in the Bible. When He talks about the church, He talks about it as bride and groom. So it's got to be important to Him. And that's what changed my whole mindset, babe. I've been to lots of weddings, but it's one time I looked at the groom and I said, man, he was shivering, And it wasn't like a scaredness of, I said, man, he's about to make the ultimate commitment to God. To love this woman despite everything.
Wow.
And that's why I chose marriage. And that changed me. So I don't play with marriage. I take it real serious, because when I was shown that it's God and then your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need God. I need
Yes.
God to love you. You,
Yes.
man, you know, we get on each other's nerves.
Yes.
So
Yes, Lord.
we need God to love each other.
Mm-hmm.
You need God to propel you when things are broken down. You need God. God, this woman ain't acting right.
Mm-hmm.
I need to pray. You know.
I agree. I agree with wholeheartedly. Yes, definitely. That's awesome because it's so true. And Paul talked about that too. He was like, it's a mystery. I can't explain it to you. I really can't. You know, so it's a beautiful thing, and you can feel it. Like if you are intentional about choosing a mate and wanting to honor God in your marriage, you can feel the covering of God when you invite him in your marriage and you have him as the center of it. It just is so different. It's really unlike any relationship. Ever, for real. So it's different.
And it starts in your single state.
Mm-hmm. It does.
It doesn't start once you get married or meet a person. It starts in your single state to have that mindset that you want to honor God.
Yeah.
And we definitely went through the process.
Yeah. And it's individually, but it's that time with God that you spend in preparation, in prayer and things like that while you're single. Those things it's working in the spiritual realm. So
yes.
it's preparing your mate. It's preparing their heart. It's preparing their character, and yours too, to be able to once y'all come together, the meshing is so much easier. Because some things that happen in the spiritual realm before y'all even knew each other. It's like when God said He knew you in the womb. You can know your mate in the spirit. But I mean, y'all gotta be ready for that. But but yeah, it's real, and it's like I said, it's God ordained. So. There are many practical reasons, honestly, why marriage is better. We talk taxes, we can talk, insurance, security, finances, just having help, a partner in the household when raising kids. You name it. Honestly, there are many practical reasons why marriage is just a better option, especially in today's society. It's almost impossible to survive off one income. So that alone is a good enough reason. Now people again take those things like that and say, oh well, we just gonna move in together and that's gonna help us save money and be. But guess what? That's like throwing your money down the chute. Because it's not gonna get you nowhere. It's not blessed. It's not going to last. And then of course that person have the option to get up and leave and move on, and you left with the pieces. So there is much security around being married also. But again, that's just practical things. If you're not people of faith, or if you're not a believer, you're not in a place where you understand God's way of doing things. Those are reasons enough. However, we come from a faith aspect of anything, because we are believers, and we operate in faith in all areas of our life. So again, our intentions is always to honor God and to seek God in any area of our life. So of course, our ideas of marriage is going to tie to that. And truth be told, it's the original way anyway. There is no such thing as marriage if you have no knowledge of God. If you have no knowledge of where marriage originated from, then you just doing what you see, and you truly don't even have an understanding of it in the first place. So to people who may have different views or may not see marriage as a necessity, I would say to one, seek God, and to think about life full circle. What does that look like? What does your life look like long term? Are you truly okay and satisfied being single and just out here doing things on your own, not having the love, support, um, commitment, and just unity of a lifelong partner, and then of course having that covenant. Man, that's blood. It's it's a blood sacrifice till death do you part. And for just thinking of a person making that type of commitment to you, I mean, that alone just warms your heart. That's why the women be cutting up when they get proposed to. This man is saying that he wants to be with you for the rest of his life. And as I always say, men choose, women agree. So, yeah, the man.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah, the man chooses his wife, and as the wife, you get to say yes or no. You know.
That's it.
Yeah. So, we approve marriage.
We approve this message.
We love y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe.
Until next time.
See y'all later.